You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at U.S. Cellular, exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, U.S. Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls? Hang up the phone! Prank caller! Prank caller!
Okie dokie, folks. What's going on? We're going to do a little Packernet After Dark. If you'd like to call into the show, the phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. A little late night cafe ole. If you call in, by the way, no big deal. I'm not going to answer because it goes straight to voicemail. So feel free at any point. If you have any thoughts as we go through this, just pick up the phone, drop a voicemail. And tomorrow when we do this, if you haven't called in before, then, whatever. If you're wondering why PFF is up, I just like to have stuff up here when we, research things. We're not talking about anything yet, so it just sits like this in the interim. All right, let me make sure we got the settings here. If there are any issues with the audio, please let me know. I've gone through an entire episode before, and nobody told me there was no audio. I did the whole thing. Nobody said a word. Just let me look like an idiot. We did Omar. Tomorrow you'll hear that. So, Dakota, go ahead, bro.
Ryan.
Yo.
This is Dakota, that nerd in Tennessee, but Ryan, dude, I'm going to need you to quit yawning. I know you're tired.
Bro, I can't. I'm sorry.
But I'm listening to this podcast. It's 101 degrees outside. I got a 20-pound vest that does not breathe on. And your yawning just sets me into a fit of yawning throughout the day.
Makes me want to yawn just saying yawning for some reason.
I'm already tired. Contributing to it. Oh, man. Anyway, I probably yawned 107 times today because I listened to your podcast. But, anyway. So, I heard you say that you've had a bunch of folks, like Southerners that are, had never heard of a bride. And, that confused me, and then I started looking at, all the circumstances surrounding me, and, we got people stopped in the middle of the road. Am I going to stop and talk to y'all? Don't make me stop and talk to y'all. Please don't do that. Anyway, yeah, so, I forgot, yeah. So, we always cooked brats, at our house. No, we weren't big, my family's not Packers fans, or even the biggest football fans. I kind of became a Packers fan on my own. Ain't really nobody else major football fans. I got an uncle that's a Miami Dolphins fan. I got an uncle that's a Tennessee fan. And that's about it. Some of my family members watch college. My Meemaw used to. So my Meemaw, was part German, part English.
Okay.
And my papa, her husband, was, he's the last name, Muller. So he's German.
Oh.
His parents were German. They were very Catholic Germans from Germany. Then he never got to teach me German because, circumstances. But anyway, we had brats a lot. We had brats at our house. That's long story longer. We had brats. And I guess that counts as football talk. Anyway, y'all peace out.
I think brats are definitely football talk, especially on a Packer show, that's for sure. Too old for this says, I had a veggie brat once, biggest regret of my life. That's what my wife lives on. She loves those things. They have Brat Fest, actually, in Wisconsin. If you're not in Wisconsin and you don't understand how serious the brats are, understand, oh my lord, here we go. Megan won Jeopardy. I know, we got to get back on the Jeopardy train. I shouldn't even say we'll do it tomorrow because I make promises and then they don't happen, but yeah. Anyways, my wife, she digs those. Yeah, in Madison, they actually have Brat Fest. It's a whole brat festival. It's actually pretty delicious. You go up and grab whatever. But they have veggie brats, and my wife being a vegetarian, that's what she likes. So we also, when we grill out, I'll make her some veggie brats and stuff so that she can actually enjoy. Because I do tons of smoking and grilling, and my wife is a vegetarian, so she doesn't partake very often. So that's a sad thing. It's not bad, though, being married to a vegetarian. I learned early on. Because if you go out somewhere and she gets, like let's say we get breakfast, she'll order like sausage and I get extra sausage. I get all her meat, and if I have veggies, I just scoot it over to her side so I don't have to send back a whole plate full of vegetables. And we both clean our plates and look like grown adults, like we actually know what the heck we're doing in this life. Steve, what's going on?
Ryan, how's it going, man?
Good.
Hanging out my Friday, so I'm up late watching some old Packer games, and I figured that to give us all, really you, something to do, I had a thought and I have a question for you, and I was wondering if you could figure out a reason, rationale, rhyme, whatever, for why this happened. So, 2010-11, Packers win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We have an amazing defense. The defense the year before wasn't super great, but it was solid. And the year before that, I think it was okay too. But the Super Bowl year, great defense, okay? I believe it ranked top 5 in the league in pretty much everything. Why is it that defense regressed so amazingly far? It got so bad. How did it get so bad that next year where, it didn't feel like we could stop anybody. If it wasn't for the fact that, Rodgers and the wide receivers were just unstoppable themselves, we would have just been dog meat in that year. So my question to you can you find a statistical reason or something to do with our coaching or players, whatever, why we suck so bad the 2011-12 season on defense? Only thing that I can think and remember back is that we lost Colin Jenkins, and I have a hard time thinking that Colin Jenkins was that important to the defense that it just all went so bad afterwards. So yeah, that's my question for you. Just fill in some media time and give you phone calls to go with. So I'm gonna go back to watching us beat up on the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Take it easy, boys. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Oh, and ladies. I don't want to forget the ladies out there.
So Brambo says Nick Collins injury. Professor Cake says Nick Collins. So obviously that's a big one. I've talked about it before. Every once in a while, there's just sort of a perfect storm. Chicago Bears 2018 was one of those where, the Bears were getting better under Fangio and then just an explosion of everything working out. And then it regressed after that. So I don't know if it has more to do with, why did they get so bad? It was just a question of how did everything go so right? If you look at B.J. Raji, which this looks pretty blasphemous, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever looked at B.J. Raji's PFF. According to PFF, he was dog crap. This is not how I remember him at all. I had such fond memories of B.J. Raji. But essentially, he was terrible every year except 2010. It was like 50, 70, 40, 60, 40, 40. Sam Shields had a really good year 2010 and then regressed. He was kind of up and down. But again, it's just kind of spotty and it landed on 2010. Clay Matthews was solid all the way through 2012 and then kind of fell off. Mike Neal had this random elite year, although it was just a couple games, but still, all these contributors. Tramon Williams, he only had 4 or 5 good years. That was one of his best years. In fact, it was his best year in 2010. Desmond Bishop had some good years. It looks like 2010-11 were kind of, as far as him playing full time and being good, 2010 being significantly, like really freaking good. So yeah, I just, it seems like 2010, just everything kind of came together. Cullen Jenkins was pretty solid, and that's the other thing. You got some solid 60s in here: Charles Woodson, AJ Hawk, Nick Collins, Ryan Pickett. I mean, just solid, steady guys. Whereas, 2011, you had Clay playing well, you had Bishop playing well, and then that's basically it. DJ Smith graded out well, but he only played in 5 games. Francois was okay, played 4 games. Woodson had fallen off at that point. Burnett, I mean, it's, even if you look at the solid 60s, if you look at guys that were 60 or higher, there's 11 compared to this year where there's 19. Now, if you subtract out the guys that didn't play full time, it's different. But yeah, it just seemed like a perfect storm. And it really wasn't, I mean, from a grading standpoint, it wasn't magnificent. It wasn't super mega elite. But they were able to put it together. They just played good football as a unit, and it all worked out. And again, I think a lot of these, a lot of the 60s, a lot of this stuff really, really helped. The Ryan Pickett's, the Nick Collins, AJ Hawk, Charles Woodson, all that stuff. They didn't play their best football, but they were just solid and steady players. All right, what do we got here? Thomas Austin, go Pack, go. Professor Cake's Hall of Fame trajectory, still talking about Nick Collins. BJ Raji was good the 1 year it mattered. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Still love the big fella. Yeah, I mean, it must have just been like he's a cult hero. I would have thought he played. I mean, I know he wasn't like as good as his draft status, but I thought he was a decent player. Apparently, he freaking sucked. I didn't know that. Whatever, don't care. Still love the guy. It's kind of like what's his name? Eddie Lacy. I couldn't give a crap what PFF has to say about him. That's one of my favorite all-time great Green Bay Packers running backs. Eye test and grades don't always match up. Clay Matthews is on fire in 2010. He surely was. Charlie Peppra, he is the reason we won the Super Bowl. I'm calling it here. All right, fair enough. Let's get to our next call. Andy from Kansas.
Hey, Ryan, this is Andy back in Kansas. Sorry, my last phone call for some reason didn't record. It was 2.5 minutes of me standing in Watertown, Wisconsin, chatting about just stuff like that.
Just had tornadoes up here.
Yeah, I got a chance to get up north and do our June trip like we usually do every year. My parents had their 50th anniversary, so that was a lot of fun, plus the normal camping that we had, and got a chance to go see the Brewers game and the Lake Country Dockhounds minor league team there over in Oconomowoc. If you've ever been over there, that's a pretty good time too, especially when it's
very nice. Good fishing.
High 60s. We got out of here when the heat came here, so I guess I'm back in it now. I called because you had been talking about how close teams need to get to be Super Bowl contenders, and you're saying that it doesn't take much to kind of tip the scales, either to help you get over the hump or to prevent you. And I just wanted to call and say, yeah, that's exactly what I've been noticing over the last bunch of years. Think about the Kansas City Chiefs, right? 2-time defending Super Bowl champs. They've won their last 2 Super Bowls by a field goal. I know that the Patriots did that a bunch of times, and then I reference, of course, our 2020 against Buccaneers. You have better coverage than Kevin King did. That doesn't have that results in no touchdown there. Or if you don't fumble at the 8-yard line like Aaron Jones did, I mean, that game is totally different. Last year's game against the Niners, we played really well. I think, pretty well known if we look at it. We outplayed the 49ers, but just didn't come away with it. Think of the Seattle game in 2014, right? Basically, we had a backup tight end try to catch an onside kick instead of just blocking like he was supposed to. That game changes, in that way or in any of the other 10 ways where we had to screw up, and we did. But anyway, good time that we had up north. Glad we did that. Bay Beach, of course, is always a part of it. If you ever want to get out the boat from where you are, next Tuesday, the 25th, they have free rides all day if you get a wristband in advance or it might be the day of too, but there's a whole Green Bay Day, anybody in the area that's up that way. And if you go up that way, and if you go on 41, highly recommend Simon's Cheese Shop in Little Chute. That's over after you get just past Appleton going up to Green Bay. So we had a great time, and keep up the off-season content. It's been great. Thanks. Bye.
I'm guessing that's, yeah. Cheese Shop, Little Chute. I forgot what you said, though. What's the name of it? Is it Simon's? Anyways, yeah, so, you know, it's kind of a lame cliche, but the whole game of inches thing absolutely does apply, and I think people don't like it because we want answers. You know, like, you didn't win, how do you fix it? You're always trying to get better, I'll grant you that. But at the same time, just because you didn't win doesn't mean you're not able to win. You know, it's just, sometimes crap happens. It's like this whole thing with the Packers, they should have had more championships. Says who? Says, well, you got all these quarterbacks. Bro, it's hard to win. Period. It's hard to win. There's no formula. There's no thing where it's like, if you check all the boxes, then you just win. No. You can be the better team and lose. You can be a not super great team and win. That happens all the time. The Packers in 2011 were not the best team. Or, 2010, 2011. The Giants the next year were not the best team. There was a string of teams that just came out of nowhere and started winning. The frickin' Rams, I've talked about it I don't know how many times. They were not even a good team. They won the Super Bowl. They were not even close to being the best team. A lot of teams, the Packers in 2020, they should have won it. Should have won it. They didn't. It's just it's a fickle lady, What can you do? Just make sure you got a good football team and frickin' do it again. That's it.
Hey Ryan, it's Andy again. Just wanted to call back a second time here and encourage Packers fans to really enjoy the off season. Find highlights, find rebroadcasts of games or whatever. Just enjoy it. Have this time when we look forward to the 2024 season, and I think we pretty much fleshed out most of the question marks. Yes, there's a few that are still there. The Zach Tom injury or whatever. Just know that those things are going to happen. So don't be shocked when somebody reports to training camp and is dinged up or they had a surgery we didn't know. Yeah, probably because why would they tell us? As fans, we just find these things out. But instead of wondering about, the future, which cannot be predicted, go back and enjoy some of the great games. I mentioned I was in Watertown, and the St. Vinny's once again came through. I picked up a double DVD for 50 cents. I got the full broadcast of 10 Packers games from the 90s and 2000s, kind of a best of, collection, like the Raiders game the day after Favre's dad died. Like, this is a pretty nice little collection that's there. So, as I said, just get out and enjoy different things there. A couple of movies, they're both maybe 10 years old or so. I think I've mentioned this one before, the Wendell Baker story. Pretty hilarious, very interesting, very unique storyline. It has Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson. Those brothers have been in a lot of different movies together. Nice. And then one that's made in New Zealand, so you might want to put the subtitles on because the accents get a little thick for some people.
That's rough for
Hunt
me.
for the Wilder People. That one is kind of like Moonrise Kingdom, if you know that Wes Anderson movie. But it's pretty hilarious in that dry sense. Once again, fun fact about 80s movies that I did not know. I can't believe I didn't know this already, but turns out that in history,
shut up.
Back to the Future, the original,
not you,
takes place on the exact same day that the Goonies takes place. I think it's October 26th, 1985. So strangely enough, those stories are set at identical days. You kind of got to dig to figure that out about the Goonies. It's pretty obvious on Back to the Future with, the flux capacitor and the calendar panel there in the front of the DeLorean. But I did not know that those two movies were set on the exact same day. Whether that was just coincidence, I have no idea. But I saw a reel about that, and I thought, that's amazing. check that out. Go Google search that one just to see any connection. Anyway, thanks. Bye.
Too much says my guy's scrolling through snacks during calls. This is the cheese shop he was talking about. I wanted to show everybody. I think it is anyway. Simon's Specialty Cheese. Is this a Wisconsin thing, by the way? These little boxes, they got like sausage and pretzels and cheese and stuff in here. Not like they're everywhere around here, but I know it's a thing. This would be pretty dope. Get some good cheese, get some sausage. Cheese has kind of grown on me. I realized when I went to that Mars Cheese Castle down in the Kenosha area, I don't know if it's in the city of Kenosha or what, but I went in there thinking like I love cheese because, I'm an American and I grew up in Illinois, but whatever. And I tried all the different, it's like, dude, cheese sucks. Like, cheese is awful unless it's Americanized like cheddar, mozzarella, whatever. But the nasty taste and smell and stuff is growing on me. What I was looking at when the stupid thing started playing was I was going to show you this. I've been watching this. This is Sympathy for the Devil. This was just, you'll hear it tomorrow on the call. So you can see Omar the firefighter. He recommended some movies. I did start watching. So when you guys recommend stuff, I do watch it. This one's pretty interesting. It's Nicolas Cage. I don't want to say the acting is bad because it's Nicolas Cage and I really like him, but at the same time, I'm having a hard time, feeling it with his character so much. You know what I mean? But whatever. I mean, the movie seems pretty cool. It's interesting and it's got you guessing the whole time, like what the heck is going on, which is exactly what he said. And by the way, as far as like cruising snacks during calls, you want to know what I'm usually doing during calls? Playing some freaking Warhammer is what I'm usually doing. But we don't need to worry about that. Why don't we take a break? It's been 20 minutes. Time flies. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at U.S. Cellular, exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, U.S. Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Now's the time to save 30% on wedding jewelry, only on BlueNile.com. Make sure your wedding ring is the one with your pick of diamond and lab-grown diamond bands, all hand-finished and graded for excellence. Or surprise her with something blue she'll love for life, like a stunning pair of sapphire earrings. Blue Nile's jewelry experts are available 24/7 to help, from fit questions to style advice. Right now, get up to 30% off at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at Marines.com.
What's up, Brian? It's AA Ron calling from Eau Claire. This is you're going to think I'm crazy when I say this.
Okay.
But I was just listening to the discussion on brats.
Yeah.
And you were saying brats are 10 times better than a hot dog.
Yes.
I agree that they are absolutely, 100% better in terms of.
Let me clarify. They're 10 times better than a traditional hot dog. They're like 1.3 times better than like a good Chicago style Vienna beef dog, because those are freaking amazing. But brats are they're amazing.
Like objectively better? yes, brats are much better than hot dogs. They have much more, I think, they're a higher level food. However, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I would take a good hot dog over a brat any day. I'm not talking about just any hot dog. Like, I don't like cheap hot dogs, but in terms of like the all beef Frank.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I just like it better. I like the simplicity of it better. The texture of a brat, I don't know. It doesn't really sit with me very well. So, anyways, that's kind of an unpopular opinion, I guess, but especially in Wisconsin. But yeah, that's what I think. Secondly, I just wanted to think about over the last couple of years, the off season has been such a tumultuous thing, and there's been so much drama around the Packers the last couple off seasons, and this off season it's so interesting to just not feel that, to just feel like, things are pretty calm. There's a lot of reason for optimism. There's not a lot of drama. And it's kind of nice. Maybe down the road when Jordan Love gets older, that drama will come for him too. Well, I don't know, but right now, life of a Packers fan is pretty good. So just trying to enjoy it. All right, talk to you later.
Yeah, I think it's been great. I mean, it's a little unfortunate because yesterday and tomorrow, you'll see, I've been talking a lot about non-Packers, right? Aaron Rodgers, not a Packer anymore. Talking about the Bears and their situation, talking about the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy, talking about David Bakhtiari. It's like, they're not Packers. So it is nice when like all the drama's in-house, because then you can talk about it and people don't say, oh, rent-free, we'll focus on the Packers. Because then you are focusing on the Packers. But aside from that, I mean, as far as like if you're a fan and you just want your team to be good, and you're not a podcaster like begging for content, then yes, I agree. This has been fantastic. You can just sit back and relax. I agree with the idea that, hey, watch some of the games. I still think we should do that. Please put it in the comments if I'm stupid or if that would be kind of cool, because I think I can do it. If we just streamed football games and we just watched them, go back and watch the Dallas game or something. Wouldn't that be? I'll bring my son over here, we'll get some snacks, and we'll just watch them eviscerate Dallas. Because frickin' why not? You know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of cool. By the way, Too Old for This says, I recommend Velocipaster. I looked it up. Full movie is on YouTube. That's how you know it's a good movie, is when the whole thing is free on YouTube. Thomas Austin backed it up, says good old Velocipaster. I'm going to watch it. It's on Horror Central, by the way. 718,000 subscribers. I can't imagine how many freaking gems they have on here. It's got to be glorious. So I got a lot of work to do. By the way, Thomas, my wife has been asking about you, which obviously makes me pretty nervous, but she's wondering why you're not calling into the show, man. You got people asking for you, Thomas. We're wanting to know where you are. Josh says, riveting intellectual debate between hot dogs and brats. Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we do it on the Packernet podcast. Dude, this is, if you're not enjoying this, you're really going to hate some of the stuff we get into. Velocipaster, we could do that. We could absolutely, I wouldn't want to do it here necessarily, but maybe. But yeah, we could just hang out and do stupid stuff. You know how easy that would be for me too? If we just hung out, we got the comment section, and we watch Velocipaster, we watch all kinds of stupid crap. It'd be fun, man. We living the dream. I can't make any money off that because obviously it's going to be copyright, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It'd be more fun. I'd still love a world where Bach is healthy to play by mid-season, re-signs with the Pack at vet minimum, and we go win the Super Bowl. A man can dream. I kind of explore that a little bit tomorrow. I think that's kind of been on everybody's radar, especially since now that things have settled. I think most of us are looking at the offensive line going, I'm not so sure. And Bakhtiari hasn't been swooped up. You have to assume, my assumption anyways, is that his market, that in his mind, is quite high. And at some point, there's going to be a realization that he's not going to get that money. but also the desperation, like you said, midseason. Maybe they'll be able to meet somewhere. And it would be very cool if it was with the Green Bay Packers. I don't hold any resentment toward Bakhtiari. He's a phenomenal football player. I just don't know if there's anything left. 4 kids, says Thomas Austin. Not a lot of time to myself, and nowhere in my house is safe from this youthful menace. I understand that completely. You can stream movies on Discord. Nobody goes on Discord, though. Everybody's like, bro, you got to get on Discord. I have streamed this show on Discord. First of all, I can't even find it. I'm like, what is my channel? I don't understand how Discord works. Nobody watches it. I don't know. But I guess we could. That's where I could maybe do stupid stuff. If we want to just do stupid stuff, we can stream Velocipaster and some other stuff on there. And we can just have movie watch parties. I'm just saying, like, we could do it. If you want to do it, we could talk about it. But I'm not going to do it if it's like me and Thomas Austin and he's there for 10 minutes because his kids are like, all right, I got to go. And it's like, well, this has been a waste of everybody's time. All right. Professor Cakes, I imagine Bach is the type of dude who would want to come back home, prove to everyone he's got something left in the tank. So the only complications, he made a comment about if the Packers wanted me, they wouldn't have fired me. Now, I mean, there's truth to that, but the only question I would have is there any bitterness toward the Packers? Like, you cut me, go screw yourself. There was another thing, but I can't remember what it is. But that would be a concern. Thomas Austin, just go to your murder basement. It's very peaceful. I miss the Thomas Austin banter. I remember that whole thing where he had a murder basement. That was fantastic. Just get Omar to do it. I know. We should. We'll get Omar to do it. All right. Next caller, TJ from Alabama.
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama. Just listened to the pod. All of it pretty good. Just kind of doing nothing, waiting for real football to start again. Looking pretty forward to it. Great hearing from Pedro from Brazil.
Yep.
Kind of getting everybody fired up. 1265 fan. I always enjoy her calls, so thank you, 1265 fan. And 1265 fan was kind of talking about her, rookie that she's going to follow, yada, yada. And while I don't really follow a rookie because, hell, I follow them all. Obviously want them all to succeed, and anyone that wants to step up is all right with me. But Dontavian Wicks last year, just for no reason, kind of struck me as interesting. And this year, I don't know if it's just same draft round or whatever, but Evan Williams, not that I think he's going to be better than Javon Bullard or anything like that, but I think Evan Williams is going to have a real role on this team and is going to play some real minutes and won't necessarily start, but is definitely going to play a role. And by the end of the year, is going to be in that same Carl Brooksy, Dontavian Wicks type of role, as far as level, as far as, hey, really showing promise. At least that's what I hope. Also, listen, not to bring up, well, I guess to bring up Rodgers again, just with the little bit of drama that New York's going through and
here, because I do it too. We got to stop freaking apologizing for talking about it. Because every time you put the caveat, like, I know you're not a Packer, I'm sorry, shouldn't do it. Just talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. You talk about it. Somebody doesn't like it, they can go ahead and shove it.
Kind of that feeling of, I'm just glad it's not our problem anymore. But I was just curious. Obviously, you and Clayton, at least from my perspective, you and Clayton are a little bit on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Clayton a little bit more in the leaning the Rodgers apologist level, and you being more critical of Rodgers. Not his talent, because clearly he has great talent, but just, kind of being a knucklehead and being self-absorbed a bit. So I was just curious and I don't know if you talk to Clayton often or rarely ever talk to Clayton. I have no idea. But when you and Clayton do talk and Rodgers comes up, do you guys just end up agreeing to disagree, or, does the conversation sway one way or another? Because clearly some things are inarguable. Rodgers, great talent, inarguable. And I think, in the immortal words of Mark Murphy, he's also kind of a complicated fella, and I think that's inarguable. But just curious, how does those conversations go if you ever have those conversations? That's it. Thanks. Bye.
It's funny you mentioned that. You may have also noticed that and maybe it comes with the territory if you're kind of a podcaster. You're a very, very opinionated kind of person. I feel like Clayton and I and the rest of the crew, we agree on like 99.9% of stuff. The Rodgers thing really caused some ripples. And Clayton and I got into a couple disputes about it, and I feel like we both just kind of backed away from it. Like, let's just freaking leave it alone. It's not productive to argue the Rodgers thing. But no, we haven't talked about that in a long time. To be completely, like, I don't even know at this point, like, his stance on the Rodgers thing. I haven't heard, like, an updated stance. And to be clear, like, I was a Rodgers apologist for a long time. So essentially, there's a long timeline with Aaron Rodgers. So I remember, like, the first controversy with him came when he supported Colin Kaepernick. And it was, like, the reverse of how things kind of ended up when he, like, with the whole COVID thing. You had a lot of people supporting him and a lot of people mad at him. I had no issue with any of that or anything he said on that. He made was he the one that, I think he was the one that made the comment about, like, where's the cameraman? Like, he's not, paying attention, putting his hand on his heart, standing up, whatever. People in concessions, all that stuff. So that was, like, the first thing that I remember anyways, where there was, like, a controversy and people made teams and all that. Then, like, the big thing was, and I can never remember the guy's name, I'm subscribed to his Substack, but he came out with that big article, and it was like everybody hates him, and it's a big dysfunctional mess, and he's a jerk, and he makes fun of the coach, and all, and it was this thing, and I massively defended Rodgers. Like, I went real hard at what's his name that wrote the article, and all that stuff. The COVID thing, I was very much on Rodgers' side because the whole thing was stupid. He has every right to do whatever he wants, and the idea that people are offended that he lied is fake. Nobody gets mad about lying, especially when he's bending the truth and he's doing it to prevent drama, which is what everybody accuses him of, is causing drama. It was such fake outrage, it was annoying. The thing that started to get me is when he really seemed to turn on the team. That's when I got annoyed. He seemed to be, and to be fair, it was the exact same thing with Brett Favre. I got to a point with Brett Favre where everything was about Brett Favre. He never showed up to camp anymore. He made the team wait until the last minute to tell him if he was coming back, and it just got to be too much. It's like, you know what? You're not here for the team. You're here for yourself. It's you got to go. And I was happy that he left, and I was rooting for Rodgers. I was one of the few people that wanted Rodgers instead of Brett Favre. Again, supporting Rodgers. It just got to a point where, and again, with this whole thing where, the team doesn't treat people right. That's bullcrap. It's complete bullcrap. It's basically all he's saying is they didn't pay my friends what I feel like they should have paid. Then he throws his little temper tantrum. He says he wants to be traded to the 49ers. That blows up in his face. He does a whole holdout thing because he doesn't want to come back. He goes off and does his own thing, and then he forces Randall Cobb to come back, which obviously is not a team decision. It's him looking out for his friends. And it just got to a point where it's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm off. I'm off the train. This is becoming too much. And I understand that there's like a whole political thing, and I understand, like, when I make a statement about it, that it's like these two teams converge, and I'm not involved in that. This is strictly about the Green Bay Packers and my position on who's helping and who's hurting. And it just seemed like he checked out and he was not doing the right things for the team. And it got stupid with, like, the, laughing at the idea that he would ever bond or do anything with these young players. It's like, that's stupid. That's nonsense. Why are we making this up? And then, of course, he goes to the other team and he bonds with the young players and they go out, do all this stuff. Anyways, that's when I got off the train. So the bottom line is, me being sort of quote-unquote anti-Rodgers, we're talking about a sliver of history. And it's unfortunate because I wish that it didn't end this way. You wish for one of the most legendary Green Bay Packers of all time to ride off gloriously into the sunset with all of us just weeping. I wish it was the saddest day of my life. It was sad when Jordy left. It was sad when Clay left. I remember thinking, like, what are we going to do when all these legends leave? When Rodgers left, it was a relief. And that sucks. It sucks that it was a relief. I wish it wasn't a relief. And yes, it's stupid that some people are petty because he didn't get his frickin' shot, and so they hate him or whatever. That's stupid to me. But it just became the right decision. He has to go. And it does suck. And there's still some, like, I don't know. I feel like there's not a resolution. And I don't know why necessarily it feels like there's not a resolution. But he's still with the Jets, and he's still doing that stuff. And there's still some talk about whether he's doing the right thing or the wrong thing, or whether he's going to go make the Jets better and we're going to be worse for it. I wish I could just say, you know what, I hope you have the most success possible, with the exception of winning a Super Bowl, because that's for us, but I want the best for you. But I can't, because I don't want him to be rewarded for his behavior. I don't want him to have great success for making stupid decisions, especially since the Jets made nothing but stupid decisions. They don't deserve anything good. Rodgers is not putting in work. He's going on vacation in Europe when he's supposed to be at a mandatory mini camp. This team doesn't deserve anything. He doesn't deserve anything. I mean, not like this. Not like this. So I can't root for him. I want his career to end so that we can reset. And then at that point it's over. And then I can just say, you know what? He was a legend. I want him to come back, retire a Packer, the whole thing. But it's just freaking lingering, and it's annoying. And I wish he would have just retired. I don't even know what your question was, but that is Tyler Dunn. Yes, that's his name. That is sort of the timeline of me just going from Rodgers is the man. He's he's the greatest Packer we've ever had. To I'm over it. I'm over it. Do we even take our second break yet? Let's take our second break. I want to rip through some of these comments, and then we'll see where we're at and do some calls, etc., etc. We'll be right back.
Have you ever experienced turbulence on a flight and wondered why?
And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything?
No, everything's peachy.
Maybe you've sat on the tarmac for hours wondering why your plane isn't moving.
Well, we're outside here. They're saying the ramp is closed. They won't let us park because of Air Force One.
Listen in on the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers on the Air Traffic Out of Control podcast.
512 Whiskey declaring an emergency. There's smoke in the cabin. I need to make a landing right now on 31 left.
We have the most interesting, wild, and funny ATC recordings you will ever hear. Check out Air Traffic Out of Control wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hunt for the Wilder People, 2016 New Zealand adventure comedy drama film. Written and directed by Taika Waititi. That's how you know it's good. He didn't even lie. The NFL knew his status. That's the only thing that mattered. Well, and that was the other thing. He was upfront with his teammates and with everybody else. But somebody that is not entitled to know asked something that's none of his business, and Rodgers answered truthfully but somewhat deceptively, and everybody pretended to be outraged because he lied, as though anyone gives a crap about lying. Give me a break. Let's see, exactly. Once it became obvious that he was Aaron Rodgers, the individual, I lost my bias for him. Yeah, I mean, it just, to some degree, I liked that he was like the guy and he was locked in, and it's like, this is the right way, but he had no interest. You look at that whole MVS thing, I think I kind of supported him through that a little bit, but with MVS and Jamon and St. Brown, when they came in, he was so dismissive of them. Like, I don't have time. That was his whole thing. Like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for these young people that don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, get on my level or get out of here. And this is also the guy that apparently was throwing a fit that we don't get him new people. And then he gets new people and he's pissed because they're young and they don't know what they're doing. It's just, good Lord, man. I'll always be excited to watch Favre play the old Packer games, but it was great when we just stopped talking about his departure around 2010, hoping for that this year with Rod. Yeah, exactly. And you hope that, like, it doesn't go further. Like, with Favre, it was an ugly breakup, and then he went to the Jets, and there was a huge controversy there, and then there was an even bigger legal controversy over here, and now it's such a, like, why does it have to be like this thing? So hopefully it's not like that with Rodgers. And in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, nobody gives a crap about any of this. And it's nothing but just glowing memories of Aaron Rodgers. But we'll see how things go. The only thing is, I think Rodgers is really leaning into having a voice and trying to be influential. We know about his VP thing. So I don't necessarily see him like going off into the wilderness like I thought he would. Like he would just disappear. I think he's going to continue to be a public figure. I think he's going to be even more vocal when he leaves. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying I think it's going to cause there to be, let's just say, half the country that just hates his guts. And you know, another like 15% over here that also just don't like it for whatever reason. And then, of course, people who pretend they like it a lot more just because they like what he's saying. It's going to be a whole stupid thing. I hope not. But that's probably what's going to happen. Maybe similar to Favre. Favre has now, gotten political in some instances, and so everyone absolutely hates him and pretends it's because of this, but it's really because of that. And it's just this whole stupid thing. That's everything nowadays, though. Everything comes down to, identify yourself, and then I will decide if I agree with what you say or disagree with what you say. Tell me your political party, and then I'll tell you if I agree with your football takes. Okie dokie. That makes sense. The best part of Rodgers leaving was Bears fans laughing at us like we were devastated, but most fans were ready to move on. Yeah, and then that really upset people too. But that's when we started getting lectured about, you stupid people. You think you're going to be okay. You have no idea. You're headed to the basement. You're going to be, it's like the 80s. It's all over. It's like, okay, dude, thanks for your freaking pep talk. You're an idiot. And turns out, they were idiots because we went to the playoffs in year one. We're going to go back this year, and they can all just suck it. Thomas Austin, when being pro-Packers became anti-Rodgers, I knew which side I wanted to be on. Yeah, I mean, and again, it is unfortunate, but that's really what it came down to. There wasn't a way to kind of bridge that gap, and it's really because it became so ugly between Rodgers and the Packers. So you couldn't be a Packers and Rodgers fan. I mean, not really. I mean, I'm not saying Rodgers fans are not rooting for the team. And maybe that's somewhat of an unfair way to put it. It's sort of the Packers administration, Gutekunst in particular, versus Rodgers. And I just have not heard a well-articulated argument against Brian Gutekunst. I just haven't. And again, they don't treat people well, I think is nonsense. And the reason I think it's nonsense is the exact examples that they give, like Jordy Nelson. It's a terrible example. The bottom line is, if you let these guys go, you're wrong. If you offer them too low, that's disrespectful. If you don't offer them something, that's disrespectful. So what's the only option? Pay them more money than they're worth because they're... And by the way, Rodgers is only talking about the high-end players. He's talking about Bakhtiari. He's talking about Jordan. He's talking about Devontae. He's talking about himself. He's not talking about frickin'... Well, technically, he was talking about Jake Kummerow. He's not talking about Jeff Janis or these... He doesn't give a crap about them. It's about, you need to show me respect because of what I've earned, because of what I've done. And that kind of attitude is nonsense. You're old enough to know how this works. You should know how the NFL works. And you're being ridiculous to pretend that the way that it works is when you get really old and you can't play anymore, you get even more money out of respect. No, you get your frickin' jersey hung up over there. But outside of that, you have to leave football because you're not worth your price anymore. And nobody wants you anymore, and you have to leave. So Jordy left, he went on, and it was not very good. And Jennings left, and he went on, and he was not... These guys go somewhere for like a year or two. We find out the Packers are right, which they almost are in every instance. Very rarely does somebody go on to have a great career. You got like Micah Hyde that went on to have a great career. Sitton went on to have a good career, but that was only because I think he left for other... not even... I think it was like in the locker room issues. Most of the time, even Mike Daniels, I was shocked we move on from Mike Daniels. He didn't do jack squat after he left. But these are the problems. This is what the Packers did wrong, supposedly. They should have given these contracts because how dare you after all they've done? That's not how this works, dude. It's not. It's nonsense. And what, they didn't use nice enough words? Freaking grow up, dude. Grow up. We beat the miraculous Jets in the Super Bowl this year. Rodgers hands the old championship belt to Love at the post-game handshake. You think he would do that? I kind of feel like he'd be maybe he'd be cool about it. Maybe, you know what? I don't think he would. And the only reason is because I think he would it would be kind of like a Brett Favre thing where this would be personal. You know what I mean? Like, it would be cool and he probably wouldn't be thinking, but once it came down to it, it's personal. And it's just one of those things, like, in the moment, I don't know if he would just be able to, like, turn that switch off and, like, go, you know, shake hands and give hugs and all that. Maybe he would. I don't know. I just feel like in the moment, be pretty fiery. I felt bad for 12 because he couldn't do anything right in the eyes of the people. He had a fair opinion of vaccines, but the left hated him. He did psychedelics, and the right hated him. Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the other thing. It's like, that is a good point. I mean, he's kind of, you know, people always talk about being in the middle. Like, I'm a centrist. Everybody that says that, nobody's a centrist. Everybody is lying when they say they're a centrist. Rodgers really kind of is. You know, I mean, people on the right aren't going to like him. Again, he's a freaking hippie that, you know, again, he supported Kaepernick and all this stuff. Like, he's a pretty, from the side of the right, he's a lefty. From people on the left, he's a freaking MAGA jagoff, right? So, yeah, he's on an island, man, for sure. I mean, he's a liked guy. He's got a great reputation among people that actually know him. But from the public perception, I don't know that there's a huge swath of people that really like him. And even of the people on the right that started really liking him because of some of the stuff that he did that seemed on the right, he's obviously, like, you know, now, I don't want to say anti-Trump, but I mean, he's come out for the third party guy, and there was that whole video with him not shaking hands, even though I think they actually did shake hands at the fight. I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get into politics. This is getting into dangerous territory, but you make a good point. I think he is kind of like too far left for the right, too far right for the left, and everybody's going to end up hating him, because really, that's all that matters to anybody anymore. Professor Cake says Rodgers should definitely have known how the Packers operate. Packers are notorious for letting players go at age 29, 30, unless your position is QB1. Yeah, I mean, and everybody does that. It's not just the Packers, and that's the thing. It's like, well, the Packers are uniquely awful. No, they're not. Everybody lets people go. That's just how it goes, man. And I don't know, maybe they give you an extra few seconds on the hug, you know? Maybe the Raiders will kiss you on the mouth when you leave. I don't really know. I don't know what you want. But when it's time to go, it's time to go. And that's about it, you know? You'll have your festival, you'll have your parade, you'll have your retirement ceremony in Green Bay at another time. But at this moment in time, it's nothing more than a thanks for your time, it's time to go. And by the way, Rodgers didn't even get that because he wouldn't pick up the phone. So you want to talk about disrespect? You got the GM trying to work things out with you. He's trying to talk to you, and you're going to make some BS up about, oh, I don't get phone coverage. Like, come on, dude. You're being stupid. Politics and football don't mix. Not saying keep it out of it, but allow people to have their own opinion regardless of how stupid they can be. And that's I think that needs to be a slogan. Let people be stupid. Right? I mean, there's a line to cross when people are dangerous, and we always pretend that everybody we don't like is dangerous, which is fake and stupid. But the whole world is stupid. I'm stupid, you're stupid. If you don't think you're stupid, then you're dumber than I am, because we're all stupid. Just let people be stupid. We let you be stupid, you let me be stupid, and let's just be nice, right? It's football. Let's talk football. At the end of the day, no Packer will ever wear 12 again. He is one of the GOATs. And that's the thing. Like, you're going to get your respect. So don't worry about it. Just go out with some grace. Because when you come back, there's going to be a time when you come back, and there's going to be a stadium filled, and we're all going to cheer for you. And I'm going to be at home watching, and I'm going to be cheering. And we're all going to be excited. Let's just try to focus on that moment in time and work toward that moment. And not do anything to disrupt that. And I feel like we're there. I can't imagine Rodgers goes back and starts taking shots. But I feel like we're pretty good if we can just stabilize, let him do his Jets thing, and come on back. But yeah, I don't know. I wish things didn't get so heated. But I also don't know how avoidable it is necessarily. I think about this even with Jordan Love. You know, you get to a point where you're making so much money, you become pretty full of yourself. You know, imagine Jordan having, you know, $400 million or something after 15 years with the Packers, or however much money it's going to be. He's Mr. Big Shot. He runs the show. nobody says no to him in the organization after a while. I mean, you get to a certain point where it's just absolutely crazy. And then, you get old, so you don't really want to do all the stuff that puts wear and tear on your body. You're not showing up to things anymore. You're not really buying into the freaking rah-rah speeches because you've heard it 100 times. You know more than your coach does, who's probably not even Matt LaFleur anymore. You're just kind of freaking tired of it. You just want to have a good team of veterans that know what the hell they're doing, and you want to go win Super Bowls, and then they draft your replacement, and now you're just pissed, right? I mean, it's an understandable thing. But at the same time, I think Rodgers learned from Favre in that Rodgers treated Love very, very well. Hopefully Jordan can learn from Rodgers and not kind of go out this way and just understand when it's time to go, it's time to go. And if they draft my replacement, I'm going to play better than him. I'm going to keep my job as long as I can. I'm going to suck the money out of him on that last big contract when the other guy's not ready, and I'm going to go out with grace. That's about the best you can do. Apparently, it's impossible, says Professor Cakes now, for anyone to accept not everyone has the same opinion or views. I mean, we all accept it. We just have decided to become much more angry about it, which is kind of crazy. May have covered this already. Late to the party. What do you think of the tight end group? Savage Inc. Thanks for getting us back on track. Probably just end with this here. I love the tight ends that we have, man. Let's pull this up real quick. Let's do this. Let's end on a high note. I don't know how we got into freaking politics. Let's get to 2023. Let's go to our receiving. And we've got Lukey and Tucker. So this is Luke Musgrave, right? And this is where it kind of sucks because, he, just like Jordan Love, was trying to figure things out. And then right around the time Jordan figured it out, look what happened. This game's like, okay, this is something. And then, boom, you got a little something here, right? And then this is the game he ends up getting hurt in, and he disappears. So he's just starting to figure it out. He gets hurt, he disappears. He comes back week 18, wild card, and divisional round. And look at that. Now, it's a 3-game sample size, but if you were to average that out, he's probably, like an 86 or something? Not really average it out, but I don't know if you can hear my kids. They're screaming bloody murder. Which, if I was a new parent, I would think, oh my lord, one of my kids just snapped their leg in half. Somebody probably just stole their toy. So I'm very optimistic. Because, again, he just figured it out. He goes out injured. He comes back, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm like the best receiver on your team. I mean, I want to do something real quick. I've never done this before. I just want to see. Let me go to position here. Let's go to all the receivers. Let's do Green Bay Packers, and I just want to look at those guys. I want to see if he was, again, small sample size, but I want to know if he was our best receiver in that stretch. There you go. Luke Musgrave and Romeo Doubs. Those two guys absolutely tore it up. I did mention Romeo, but he was our best receiver, Luke Musgrave. Comes back from injury, and this is what he does after injury. 91.2 PFF grade, 91.9 receiving grade, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Am I excited about Luke Musgrave? I am excited about Luke Musgrave. That's some good content. And then it was similar with Tucker. Right? Didn't play very much, kind of looked like crap all the way through here. Like, this is pretty rough. And then we lose Luke, right? So this is when he kind of steps in, gives him about 3 games, and then look, boom, boom, boom. This is even better than, this garbage. And then boom, he kind of struggled in the postseason, but, again, promising. And then you put Luke on the field at the same time, kind of figure out how to use him a little bit better. Yeah, I'm excited about these guys. Let's do this real quick. Let's do week 13 through the end. The last 2 games will hurt him, but let's just do it. Week 13, deep doop dop bank bop. Where is he? Tucker, almost a 70 receiving grade through that. So he had a pretty good stretch, especially when you factor in, if you look at how he started, this is dog crap right here. But you give him a half a season, and plus, again, you take Musgrave out, I think he can be a solid player. But Luke is the guy you got to watch out for. If you're talking about I'll be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, this is maybe the most underrated weapon in Green Bay. We've been talking about this wide receiver. This is content for the podcast. I promise you. As soon as I record tomorrow, this is what we're talking about. We talk about who's the wide receiver one. Is it Wicks? Is it Dobbs? Is it Reed? Is it Watson? You can make a good case for probably all four. What about this frickin' guy? I'm just saying, again, comes back from injury, and in those 3 games, having been down and out, he was gone since week 11, he was our number 1 receiving option. Week 18 against Chicago, the wild card, and the divisional round against San Francisco. Something to think about. Andy says multiple young, cheap, talented tight ends. Yep. Whoa, Savage. We're talking about how much we hate others' opinions. Keep your football talk out of here. Tight end, wide receiver, very similar. So much potential. Agreed. I think Luke has sky-high potential. I mean, Luke, to me, is, and I've said this before, he kind of reminds me of Christian Watson in that I just wish we could just string it together. Just show me this window here for a season. That's what I always think that with Christian, and it's like, takes him a while to get revved up, then he blows up, then he gets injured, and it's like, freaking frack. We have to get both Watson and Musgrave, who can stretch the field. That'd be fantastic, man. You get those 2 guys. You got one guy beaming down the sideline. You got another guy going up the seam. You got Reed coming across. You got Wicks running his out route. Just, The only thing holding back the potential of our tight ends is the potential of our wide receivers. There's too much talent, man. You can't give Luke the ball because everybody else is taking all the snaps. Reed is pretty damn good at stretching the field as well. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can legitimately make a case for all those receivers being the number 1. I mean, Reed was maybe our best receiver, you could argue, just as in terms of what he did last year. Wicks seems to be like the best route runner. Dobbs was our number 1 receiver last year, and Watson, I think, is the most gifted athletically receiver who has clearly the highest ceiling. And then you add Luke Musgrave into that. I mean, he's a massively talented receiving threat. I don't know if I'd put Tucker in there, but I think he's going to be the kind of guy that, you forget about. He's going to be sort of that, why do I even bother? I don't remember anybody's names ever. The guy that you fall asleep and forget about, and then he leaks out, and he has a nice little 20-yard gain. He has like 1 or 2 of those a game. Dobbs is like the John Turturro in Mr. Deeds. Yes, very sneaky, sir. Very sneaky. All right, folks, it's been an hour. I should probably wrap this bad boy up. I'm having fun, but we got to go. Didn't get through as many calls as I'd hoped, but we had a good little chat. You guys have a good night, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Nobody knew that healthcare could be so complicated.
Trump was a failure on healthcare.
Hundreds of thousands of black Americans lost healthcare insurance. That is outrageous.
And if he's president again, he would cancel insurance for millions more of us.
We cannot go back. President Biden and Vice President Harris have lowered healthcare premiums and expanded coverage for black families. They also capped the price of insulin at $35. Joe Biden is getting the job done for people just like me.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.